After a successful mission at the supermarket, Saitama and Genos run into King, S-Class Rank 7, going about his day. A monster, tongue stretcher, can't camouflage his undesirable behavior. That is, until he's face to face with King. Afraid of getting the licking of his lifetime, he surrenders immediately to the strongest human alive when the sound of the King engine rattles his reptile brain. Relieved to avoid conflict, King tries to continue on with his day when he's confronted by G4, a robot bent on taking the throne. But King turns his attention to one of porcelain. G4 caves, giving him a 10-minute bathroom break before he attacks innocent civilians. King starts freaking out, almost scaring the otaku out of him. He's a fraud. Every time a monster shows up, someone else takes care of it, and everyone gives him credit. He decides to make a break for it, to play his new video game while Genos battles the bot. When he finally gets home and boots up Heartbeat Haughty Sisters 2, Saitama suddenly starts inquiring about his behavior, having followed King home. Embarrassed, King claims that he accidentally bought the wrong game. Totally isn't a hardcore dating sim fan, obviously. The two start gaming, despite King's reluctance. Suddenly, a giant bird destroys the outer wall of King's apartment. When Saitama wonders if he should take care of it, King's secret is finally exposed. Looks like he'll be eating crow for dinner. After Saitama defeats the hollow-boned horror, to his chagrin, King realizes it's been him. No hair, all skin, the smooth-headed caper, his savior. All the way back to his octopus encounter, which left an ocular scar. He's been there. Albeit the failure of his follicles made recognizing his dome a hairy endeavor. The Hero Association is desperate, even going so far as to recruit criminals. Sonic leaves the meeting after discovering Saitama is absent. The criminals and heroes are at odds, and neither side is enthusiastic about the proposition. Garo challenges everybody, declaring humans the enemy. He's fighting for the monsters. He deals with most of the attendees, leaving Sitch alive to send a message announcing the arrival of Garo, the monster. Saitama is distracted, playing games, when Genos detects someone coming right for them. Answering the door, he's met with Sonic, looking to pick another fight with his rival. He'll have to slow his roll. Revenge isn't in the cards today. As he and Genos decide to take their battle elsewhere, Hellish Blizzard, B-Class Rank 1, shows up at their apartment. She tries to explain the factions found within each class. Blizzard, being the leader of the Blizzard group, tries to strong-arm Saitama, only to get a taste of his. Their fight leads them to the street, where they run into Genos and Sonic. Saitama saves Blizzard, much to her surprise. Genos decides to obliterate Sonic in a giant blast to circumvent his afterimage trick. But Saitama stops him. He'd rather have somewhere to lay his smooth head at night than have his disciple destroy his neighborhood. Instead, he gives in to Sonic's desire to fight him. It's time to use serious sideways jumps, creating more afterimages than Sonic, moving faster than Blizzard can even see. Saitama defeats Sonic with his own technique. Back at the apartment, Blizzard complains that she's been blotted out by the storm clouds, living in her sister's terrible tornado's shadow. She laments some more about never being able to rise in the ranks when there's a knock on the door. It's King, looking for his handheld console, only to find out that Saitama saved over his file. Blizzard continues to be surprised. Genos receives the hero name Demon Cyborg, while Saitama is bequeathed a title that strikes fear into the unshaved and capeless, henceforth known as Caped Baldy. At Bang's dojo, he expels Chidanko for not standing up after receiving a substantial beatdown. Chidanko later relays this to Saitama and company at his apartment. Genos inquires further about any link between Bang's change in demeanor and Garo's recent rampage. Perhaps it was to keep Chidanko safe. After leaving the apartment, Chidanko walks aimlessly, imagining what he would do if he ran into Garo. Well, he won't have to imagine much longer. He hears Garo close by with Moomin Rider. Before the two have spoken, a gang of tank-top-wielding Hebrews shows up to challenge the self-proclaimed monster. After an initial assault, the heroes are taken aback at Garo's ability to stand. Meanwhile, Bang welcomes his brother Bomb to the dojo. They discuss how powerful the ex-disciple has become and their plans to stop him together. Tank Top Master is compelled to end Garo, sensing something not quite right about him. But before he can land the finishing blow, Moomin Rider throws himself between them. He can't believe a hero would kill a human. The Muscle for Brains agrees, despite some bro tests from his entourage, and tells Garo to leave. There's no way he'd leave now, though. Accidentally using Bang's technique, he decimates the gym junkies, even putting Moomin Rider in the hospital, where Saitama visits him the next day, trying to glean some information. At a park, a kid flips through a hero almanac when Garo joins him, gaining info on the heroes from the various entries. Saitama meets with Chiranko in the hospital to learn about martial arts. There's a tournament soon, and since Chiranko can't participate, he gives Saitama his extra tickets. Using the book to locate Golden Ball, Garo challenges him to a fight, which the tipsy hero accepts, catching the wannabe monster off guard at first, though quickly running out of balls. Luckily, Spring Mustachio comes to his aid, but that luck is short-lived, as Garo finishes him off too. While walking in the shopping district, Garo accidentally runs into Saitama shopping. Thinking he's a low-level hero, he tries to attack the clueless cue ball, shocking the disgraced disciple when he effortlessly counters and renders him unconscious. Turns out, Saitama was looking for a wig to disguise himself as Chiranko in the tournament. Garo has a flashback to his childhood, rooting for the monsters, since he doesn't understand why the bad guys always lose. Not wanting to accept the regular order of things, he resolves to never lose, becoming the strongest monster. He wakes up confused as to how he got knocked out. After an attack on a Hero Association's high-ranking official, Metal Bat is assigned to protect one of the biggest sponsors, along with his kid. Chiranko worries that Saitama might enter the Super Fight tournament under his name, which is a valid concern, seeing as that's exactly what Saitama does. Another former disciple of Bang, Sourface, confronts the undercover One-Punch Wonder. He goes on to explain how a contestant, Wolfman, won last year's tournament wearing a mask, only for them to find the real Wolfman after the fact, causing the tournament to ban any headwear, causing Saitama to wig out. Meanwhile, the sponsor and his kid are attacked by monsters. Metal Bat defends them without any trouble. That is, until a dragon-level threat sent to Choro appears. Two low-ranking heroes grab the two civilians and book it, leaving the slugger alone, when Garo shows up. Ignoring his challenge at first, Metal Bat decides to play ball. Garo can't believe how much of a beating the baseball hero can endure. After knocking him down, Garo admits he almost got him. One head-on strike could have. A little girl's voice rings out, stopping his bat inches from Garo's face. The hero's little sister steps in and stops the fight. Surprisingly, Garo withdraws, while monsters watch from a distance. After the fight, they approach him and try to recruit him to the Monster Association, to which he refuses, offing one of his stalkers. The Hero Association is overwhelmed as monsters appear in large numbers in every city. At the tournament, Saitama learns that the pairings are based on apparent strength. While Zakos tries to talk trash, Saitama points out how weak he must be since their first match is against each other. Well, it isn't really a match. Saitama wins with a single slap. A former champion, Sweetie, who returned after disappearing for 7 years, takes care of Lightning Max with a single kick in his first match. With reports of monsters in the area, Genos leaves the stands to take care of it. Sourface boasts about winning as Saitama returns from the bathroom, having missed the entire thing. Saitama's next opponent begins to taunt the rookie, attempting to intimidate him, until he touches his wig, garnering a single-punch knockout. Meanwhile, more monsters appear, while the heroes become stretched thin trying to combat the large-scale assault. Genos barely beats an elusive cockroach man, only to get blindsided by a dragon-level threat. At the tournament, Sweetie taunts Snack, dissing heroes, claiming that only the strong will survive, before winning yet another match with a single blow. S-Class heroes join the foray against the monster assault in an attempt to turn the tide, while Saitama faces off against a ruthless psychopath, more like a toothless handicap after a single smack. During the chaos, Atomic Samurai meets with the Council of Swordmasters regarding the gyro problem. Instead of devising a plot to combat the monsters, Haragiri has joined them, trying to entice the others with monster cells, claiming that consuming them will give them incredible power. Though nothing nuclear, the Atomic Samurai splits him in two. It's finally time for the finals, Saitama versus Suiryu. The latter promises to show his opponent what martial arts are really about. He continues to show his disdain for heroes and advises against becoming one. Saitama finally has enough, not even bothering to dodge a kick which sends his wig flying, disqualifying him for wearing a head cover. Suiryu becomes furious. Refusing to lose, he lets out a fury of blows proclaiming to show what martial arts can do, only to receive Saitama's one-hit wonder, sending him flying out of the ring. Despite winning, Suiryu isn't satisfied. What would have happened if Saitama hadn't pulled his punch? Suddenly, 3 giant crows descend from above, as Goketsu catches a contestant trying to escape and throws their mangled corpse in front of the others. Announcing himself, the contestants are shocked to discover the previous champion has become a monster. He offers the contestants monster cells. The only alternative, death. Most decide to eat the cells, but Suiryu refuses, deciding to battle the newly created monsters. Elsewhere, Garo finds Watchdog Man and they start to fight. The latter wonders whether he's human or a monster. Suiryu begs for help from the last competitor. Instead, he realizes as a human, he'll never stand a chance. Eating the remaining monster cells, he collapses. Despite the insurmountable odds, Lightning Max and Snek appear, dressed in their hero gear, ready to help. Suiryu is baffled when they decide to stay and fight. When he turns heel to run, Bakuzan's transformation wasn't a failure after all. Suiryu asks to be spared, to no avail. His only option now, cry out for help and hope someone hears. A mysterious figure appears, smooth dome and flowing red cape. The caped Baldy makes quick work of Bakuzan, unable to place him despite feeling as though they've met. Only after Suiryu reminds him does it click. No matter, he placed him dead last now. Saitama explains why he joined the tournament, though disappointed he barely learned anything. Hearing about Goketsu piques his interest though. Maybe an incredibly strong martial art practicing monster could, or not. No point in losing your head over it. Returning to Suiryu, Saitama asks him to keep quiet about the tournament, while Suiryu asks whether he could become a hero, to which Saitama responds nonchalantly, probably. He became a hero, so anyone could if they wanted. Saitama reflects on how bored he is. Being the strongest doesn't allow for many challenges. King gives him an inspirational speech about being the best hero or something. He read it in a manga. Still not stirring up any passion in the despondent hero, he offers to play games. He'll even give Saitama an advantage. Suddenly, Garo appears. Noticing King, he attempts to take out one of the top heroes, only to be swatted like a fly by Saitama again. Meanwhile, Sonic is confronted by 2 ninja associates who propose a method to beat his rival. All he needs to do is consume a monster cell. Back at home, he decides it best to cook it before consuming it, though only gains the power to evacuate his bowels at the speed of sound. At the Hero Association, a strange-acting employee claims to have a message from the Monster Association. The possessed messenger transforms, claiming to desire a ceasefire, immediately attacking when the humans consider the offer. They are preparing for war. After Garo comes to, he sees Death Gatling, but decides to retreat and rest up before continuing his hero hunt. The kid with the almanac is sent by his friends to clear out the building they play in, only to stumble upon the wounded monster wannabe. Before he's able to leave, a couple of lower-ranking heroes surround the building. He takes one last look at the book and confronts the hunting party. Using the information available regarding their moves and equipment, he targets the one hero who isn't mentioned, keeping his distance. Garo tries to discount their hero ranks. Anything below S-Class is a joke. Death Gatling agrees. The ranking system is arbitrary though. It isn't really indicative of ability or skill. But if they finally take down the hero hunter, they'll gain much-deserved recognition. Laughing, though stumbling from the poison-tipped arrows lodged in his shoulder, however, Garo remains defiant and defeats 4 of the 8 heroes. Despite the poison blurring his vision, he continues to pick off the heroes one by one. Victorious, Garo stumbles away from the battlefield, only to be met with a newly repaired Genos. Meanwhile, Saitama and King battle it out on the screen when they receive notice of monster attacks. But King says there's no point, as someone will have dealt with it. Saitama agrees. Genos will be fine. He then has flashbacks to every time he's ruined his own body, and decides to go check on things. Right as Genos provokes Garo, admitting there are bigger problems than a small fry hero hunter, and readies another attack, monsters appear out of the ground. They attempt to take Genos out while recruiting an enraged Garo. Before Genos can cause himself any harm in a bid to take out the enemy, Bang and Bomb arrive, requesting to take over. Hearing Bang's voice gives Garo flashbacks to his youth at the dojo, only angering him further. Using Bang's own style against him is futile. His only chance is to use unexpected means to gain the upper hand. Using Watchdog Man's style confuses the heroes long enough to avoid taking even more damage. Phoenix Man continues to watch from above, waiting for his chance to grab Garo and escape, summoning Sentachuro, who emerges from below. Genos jumps into action, giving it everything he's got. It's not enough. Bang and Bomb combine their styles, attacking the monster's head, but the giant merely sheds its exoskeleton, barely taking any damage. Genos enters through its mouth, detonating a large explosion from within the creature's body, burning it from the inside out. But it's still not enough. Suddenly, they hear King's voice through a megaphone, claiming that the #1 hero, Blast, is there to face off against Sentachuro, having knowledge about the monster's grudge. The monster takes the bait, diving headfirst towards a defenseless King, waiting for Saitama to step in. At the last second, the bald wonder takes a crack at the enormous flying bug's face, absolutely obliterating the insect, like it was nothing. Genos asks his master what he still lacks, and thanks him vehemently when Saitama simply answers, power. Worrying King. Nobody can live up to the Caped Baldy. Thank you for sticking until the end. Subscribe for more videos like this.